Hi guys, welcome to another evening with Srinivas from BYJU'S. Friends, in this particular session, I'm going to talk about the students who have already taken CAT either once or twice in the past. I'm going to talk about the strategy for preparation. What should they do over the next few months, this being March, from March to September or October. What should be the game plan? How should they go about section wise? Okay, so that's what I'm going to do in today's session for about 40-45 minutes. And for those of you who have attended these sessions of mine, who like these sessions, please click on the like button right now, subscribe to the channel if you have not already done it, and make sure to push on the notification button because we have a lot of these in store for you, right? So friends, let's start our idea. We're going to start talking about classifying retakers. I have three ways in which retakers are classified. I'm going to talk about each type of a retaker. Then I'm going to talk about how is each one of these people different from the others. Then I'll talk about what are the advantages, and of course the most important part being what will be the preparation plan for all of these people. Now, if you notice, I have given these in chess terminology. I am a chess enthusiast. So opening moves, the mid game and the end game. These are the three ways in which I have classified your preparation for the next 7 months or 8 months. Right? So let's dive right into it. Let's start understanding by the classification of retakers. Now, as I said, there are three types of retakers that I'm going to look at. The first type of a retaker is the casual or whimsical. Now, very simply put, these are the people who never had the idea of writing CAT in the last year or the last before year when they wrote. You just went ahead and wrote, probably because your friends were writing, your girlfriend or boyfriend was writing. You just went ahead and wrote the exam just for the fun of it. You didn't prepare, or you basically just looked at one mock or so before 1 week of the CAT exam. So you just did it on the spur of the moment because others were doing, right? So these are called as my casual or whimsical students. The second, now when I say tube light, please don't think it is derogatory. It is not at all. My idea of a tube light are people who are late starters. I'm not talking about your smartness at all, my friends. Some of the smartest people unfortunately started late. So the reason I'm calling them as tube lights are the people who started late. They realized things late. Well, they would have ideally started in the month of August or probably July, August. When they had only about 3 months to prepare. 3 months, some of them, very few people will be able to get a 99 percentile with about 3 months of preparation, but many of them will realize that, okay, time is not enough, but let me give it a shot. I will continue the preparation for the next year. That's the mindset with which they go. They still put in their effort for 3 months. They will see what they could have done, what they could have got, and then they'll prepare for the next year accordingly. So these people, I will call them as tube lights just because they started late. And the last ones are the hard luck guys. These are the serious guys who wanted to give a complete thorough shot. They have given their 100%, if not 100%, at least 95% of their preparation. They put in their full effort. They never, basically they did everything right. But yeah, for whatever reason, because for no better answer to them why they didn't get to the percentile they wanted, I will call it as luck. So these are the guys who probably had a bad luck, because of which they did not get the dream college, the dream score. Okay, so these are the guys who I will say had the potential, could have got that coveted percentile, but for extraneous factors which are not under their control, they left out, or rather they missed out. Okay, so these are the three categories of students. Now there could be a fourth category of students who prepared but did not put in the full efforts. Well, my friends, if you need to ask yourself the same question, did you or are you satisfied with your preparation or not? If the answer to that is yes, you put in your full efforts, you felt that you couldn't have done anything better, or at least, little better only, in that kind of case, you come under this hard luck category. If you felt that no, you are not serious, you are, you could have done a lot more better, you could have put in a lot more of hard work, consider yourself into your late category students. Okay, so these are broadly the three categories of students I'm going to talk about today. Okay, so what are the differences? Well, let's start with the easiest ones, the whimsical. Basically, they had no preparation whatsoever. So do not, or rather, for all practical purposes, consider yourself equivalent to a first timer. So I'll leave it at that. I'll not elaborate a lot more. For all purposes, consider yourself as a first time taker. Just because you wrote an exam doesn't mean that you have got some expertise in it. Basically you woke up one day, went and wrote the exam. So, well, you are as good as a first timer. So we will talk about first timers sometime later. These people, the late starters, so here if you notice I've put them over here. Now you couldn't complete the syllabus. Not many of you could have completed all that is required in the 3 to 4 months because you started very late, and you wouldn't have got enough time to write mocks, or even if you wrote mocks, well, you wanted to, okay, so many of them do this, you wanted to hit this 20 marks, so you kept writing mock after mock. There was no time between mocks, there was no analysis done between any 2 mocks, you couldn't understand what were your flaws. So effectively, the point being, either you didn't write enough mocks or you wrote mocks but of no use, because you were spending a lot of time writing mocks and preparing but not analyzing what is going wrong. So this is the category of students. So that is the difference between the second category and the first category. And of course, the hard luck guys gave everything. They gave it their best shot. Couldn't make it for various reasons. It could be as silly a reason as, not silly actually, very serious reason as you were down with COVID because of, 7 days or 10 days before you're just recovering, not in the best of the mental as well as the physical state, or on that particular day something went wrong for you, you are not in the best of the mind. Could be any reason. Basically, the borderline or the bottom line is you do not, or you did not get a percentile which you believe you are capable of getting. These guys, I will call it as the hard luck guys who put in the full effort. Remember, the most important thing is they gave the best shot. So these are the 3 categories. Now let's take a quick look at the advantages of each category of students. Okay, so if you're talking about the first category, I would say there is no advantage. I mean, as I said, you are as good as a fresher or writing it for the first time, not a fresher. Fresher is in terms of work experience, but yeah, in terms of writing the exam, you are as good as the person who's writing for the first time. Accept it and you have to start accordingly. We have done a lot of sessions for people who are writing the exam for the first time. Okay, so people who are writing the CAT exam for the first time, how should you prepare? In fact, we did the sessions in January, we did it in February. So you can go back and look at those sessions. Those sessions are for these category of people. So don't be under the misconcept or probably the misunderstanding that you are somewhere different. You are not. You should be treating yourself as a first time CAT takers. Now the late starters, yes, some syllabus is done for you. That's one of the advantage. You would have spent time and effort, preparing and doing some part of the syllabus. Probably whatever, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% doesn't matter, right? Few mocks written. So yes, you would have written few mocks, probably 5, 10, whatever the amount of mocks you have written. So you know what is to be expected. You would have felt the pressure. The most important part is you know how it is. The pressure to be as a part of the mock, deal with the consequences of getting lower marks, or in the exam, deal with the consequence of having a tough quant or a tough LRDI. See, normally in CAT, your 3 sections are what? Your sections are, okay, your quant comes last. Your first is verbal ability, second is LRDI, and the third one is your quant. So if your quant is tough, well, you'll come outside the exam and cry. So nothing will go wrong in the exam at least. Yeah, the quant paper is tough, the section might get affected. But the problem comes when your verbal ability or the English section is tough or your LRDI is tough, because your exam is not yet done. This is always section number 1, this is always section number 2, and this is always section number 3. That's the order in CAT, you can't change it. So if your English is tough, it could affect your performance in DILR. If your DILR has been bad, it could affect your performance in quant. And students who do not write mocks, who do not write sufficient number of mocks, let me rephrase myself, people who did not write enough number of mocks will not know what it is to or how it is to handle these kind of situations. If you wrote 1 or 2 mocks, you will not have enough exposure to deal, okay, what happened if my English went well and my DILR went for a toss? Or what happens if 2 sections are very difficult and quant is easy? Do I have the state of mind? Can I recover and make justice to the quant section? And so on and so forth. So this experience is not there with many of the students if you have not written enough number of mocks. So that at least some of you, at least in this category of students who started late, if you have written about 10, 12 mocks or even 8 or 10 mocks, you would have come across papers where some section would have really been messy for you, and that impact would have been felt on the remaining part of the exam. So you would have seen in that position, whether you learned how to deal with it or not, that's a question mark, that's okay, not a problem, but at least you know what the problem is. And of course, these people have they're almost ready. That is as of last November. I don't know what you people have been doing since November. This is March. That's about 4 months, December, Jan, Feb, March. So what you've been doing for the last 3-4 months, were you brooding about it? Did you say that, okay, to hell with it, let me prepare once again? Did you start all over again? Or you guys are saying that, okay, I'm chilling out, let me take a couple of months break. I've put in a lot of effort. There are various people with various mindsets, so I really don't know what you guys have been doing. But yes, as of November, you were ready for the CAT exam. You went and you gave it the best shot. The advantage for you people, or people who fall into this hard luck category, is basically that you need to keep the momentum going. Now this, according to me, is actually a drawback. While I put it under advantages, the problem, and I've been a trainer for the last 15 years of my life, since 2007, if I'm not mistaken, since then I've noticed that people who know they are bad, so people who know they are weak, or people who know they have to work a lot, they have their task in front of them. They know that they are bad, so I have to put in the effort. It's like, yeah, I know I am very weak in maths, so let me put in the effort for maths. The problem with these kind of people, you are already ready, you're good at it. Now the thing is, what motivates you to keep preparing for the next 7-8 months? I mean, you have that a thing at the back of your mind that saying that, okay, I'm already good. I was getting consistently a 99.2, 99.3 percentile in my mocks. Yes, bad luck, my cat went for a toss. It does not mean that I'm not ready. So when you're in that mindset, you have to still keep pushing yourself. It's like saying that I have become number 1 in either a badminton or a table tennis. You have reached number 1 position, you have won a gold medal, that's fine, but how do you guarantee that you're going to keep doing that again and again consistently? Be there in the number 1 position, make sure that nobody dethrones you. Right? So while you did not win a number 1 position, or you did not get the dream college that you want, the point which I'm trying to make is holding on to what you have, not letting go, not becoming kind of complacent. That's the difficult part, and it's actually a lot more difficult than you guys think it is. Okay, there are a lot of people who did not start preparing for the second time that I've known in my life, who were really good students, could have got the best of the scores in the first attempt or the second attempt when they wrote seriously, and they missed it. Then they thought next year, hey, this is an easy thing, I missed once, that's okay, next year I'll go easily and crack it. They did not take care of their momentum in the month of April, May, June, July. They just started in the month of September or October, and then they realized that the entire preparation that they did till last year November is gone for a toss, because you are out of practice for about 6 to 7 months. When you're out of practice for 6 to 7 months, well, it's like you will at least take 4 months to get back into the groove. 3 to 4 months. So if you start in the month of October, you barely have any more time left. So this, according to me, you need to keep the momentum going. So what you need to do, what should be your game plan? Well, I'm going to discuss that. But before we go into that, those of you who have just joined, guys, if you like my sessions or sessions from BYJU'S, please make sure that you click on the notification button. We have a plethora of sessions coming your way. Click on the subscription button. Please subscribe so that you can be a part of the channel, and click on the like button for this particular video. Right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the preparation plan. Well, the opening moves, I'm going to talk for a lot of time over here, March to July. So that's about 5 months, March, April, May, June, July. So you're talking about 5 months. Okay. So this is what I call as your first step of preparation. It's a long time. In fact, it's more than 50% of the time left for you, because after this you have August, September, October, and then part of November. So you barely have 4 months, August, September, October, and not even 4 months. In fact, 3.5 months to 4 months. If you discount last part of November, you barely have any time in the 4th month. So what happens here? So let's start with I'm not starting with the freshers or the people who wrote whimsically. So those I already mentioned, those people I'm not going to talk about in this session, because they are already, and we have done enough sessions for them, so they can look at the videos there. I've got a question coming, by the way. Prakash Chand Sahu saying, sir, आप basic से start करोगे ना? Yes, of course. Guys, if you are joining BYJU'S exam prep, especially for the CAT, all our teaching, all our products are going to assume that you guys do not know anything. So we start from the basic. Okay, so we have different products. Again, if you're getting into a fast track batch, that's going to be different. If you have to join the right kind of a course, and accordingly the course will take off without any prior assumptions. Right, anyway, continuing. So the late starters, so these are the guys who are the second category of students. So I'm only going to talk about the late starters and the hard luck guys. These are the only two categories I'm going to talk about. So let's start. Okay, so you're in your 5 months, in your 5 months over here, your first task is to finish the basics of all topics. So by the end of July, you should be in a position, I'm not saying you should be expert or not. The point which I'm trying to make is you should have covered the basics. What I mean by covered the basics is you should know the names of at least subtopics. See, I'm a quant person, so I use a lot of quant examples, so don't mind that. I can also use English examples, but that's fine. So what I mean to say is, let's say you hate permutation and combination. That's okay. But do you know what are the topics which are there in P&C? Do you know that there is a topic called distribution rule? Do you know that you might not know the theory behind it, but at least do you know the name? Do you know that there is something called as what do you call? Distribution or grouping. Do you know there are category of questions which are based on sum of positive integers? So at least do you know what are the things that can come under your P&C? Firstly, in fact, I'm going to P&C directly. Let's talk about maths as such. Do you know what are all the areas that you can talk about in maths? Let's say arithmetic. In arithmetic, what are the topics? Can you make the list of all of them? When you're talking about algebra, can you make a list of all the algebra topics? You might not be great in, let's say, quadratic equations. That understood. But at least do you know what quadratic equations talks about? So that is what you need to be able to do by the end of March, by the end of July. So from March to July, 5 months is the time that you have. Similarly, if you take English, can you understand what are the 7 or 8 types of RCs that can come? For example, RC based on business, RC based on anthropology, RC based on history. So what are the categories that you can come across? Usually found in CAT. So can you name all of these? Philosophy and so on and so forth. Similarly, can you talk about odd para jumbles? Do you know what happens in odd para jumbles? Para jumbles, do you know what happens? Para summary. Similarly, if you're talking about critical reasoning, what are the types of critical reasoning questions? In RC also, you can come across questions which deal with strengthening and weakening of arguments and so on and so forth. So can you at least classify all of them? Have you solved few questions from all of them? So that is what I meant by subtopic of every section. Similarly, you go to DILR, the same logic continues. So I'm not going to list out all the topics. That's for another session, another time. But I guess you guys got the idea. I've got one more question coming in. Okay, Sejal Mehta. Sejal Mehta is asking, sir, I'm going to give CAT exam for the first time. How many hours should I devote daily? Well, if you're writing CAT for the first time, my friend, anything between 2.5 to 3 hours is enough per day. Okay, you're writing it for the first time and this is already March. I will call the March first 10 days as taken care of. This is already 6th of March being a Sunday. So let us say you have 2/3 of March and the remaining months. So around 2.5 to 3 hours per day. Now when I say 2.5 to 3 hours, I'm not talking about dedicatedly sitting for 2.5 to 3 hours. In this, around 1 to 1.5 hours will be reading of various things. Reading of a newspaper, reading of a book, reading of a novel, whatever else it is. So if you talk about core preparation where you're solving problems, I would not say more than another 1.5 hours to 2 hours. But if you add the reading part to it, which can be done when you're in a bus or a taxi, wherever you're going, or if you are in a train, whatever. So that reading, if I don't count, then it is only 1.5 to 2. But if you count that also, it would take about 3 to 3.5 hours. 3 hours ideally is what I say. Anyway, so continuing. You should have marked every topic. Now this is the important part. So if you knew or if you came to know across all of these, what are the various subtopics, the names of it, then the next thing you should have already done by then is you should have known, you should have solved few questions, something like at least 20 questions in every one of these subtopics. To an extent that you should be able to identify, okay, this is arithmetic. In arithmetic, let us say I talk about percentages. This is my strength. But application of percentages is in SICI. I'm fuzzy about it, not really clear. I'm okay here. Right, so similarly if I talk about, okay, I have a topic in arithmetic called time and distance. I'm very bad at it. I'm poor. Right, or you might be poor or you hate it. There are two different things. So you might like a topic but not be good at it. Or a topic that you might hate. Whatever else it is, can you point out each topic by the likelihood or the likeness for you. Do you like it? Do you love it? Is it your strength? Are you able to solve it properly? Or you like it but you're not able to solve it, or you just hate it. For example, personally, if you ask me, I hate geometry from the depth of my heart. Right? I in the CAT exam, those are the last questions that I ever touch. Unfortunately, 4 questions come from CAT, so I'll be left with enough time. I'll play around with 1 or 2 questions I get, by playing around with the options this way, that way, I can solve 1 or 2, but I don't really like geometry. I don't start with geometry. So, like that, can you look at every topic? And within geometry, again, if it is a circle-based problem, I'll try. So, I know that while geometry I don't like in general, triangles even more less. If a circle problem comes, usually I attempt. So I know what I like, what I don't like, even in the broad topic that I hate. So that extent of information you should gather for yourself. This you should be doing by the end of July. So that's the reason. So it's not just solving questions. It is solving questions, most importantly, marking the topics in your mind according to your liking it or not liking it, or you're good at it or not good at it. Okay? Should have given basic level questions. Don't go for moderate or hard, at least the easy level questions. Usually in whichever institute you're looking at, especially BYJU'S, we have all the category questions marked as easy, moderate or difficult. So you should have done at least basic, that is easy level questions for all these topics. Whether you like the topic or not, I don't care. You should have finished the basics at least, okay, in your topic tests. And as well as making sure that, okay, if you are if you are really having time, you are doing this, you're putting a lot of effort, you can go for moderate level also, but at least the basic requirement is your easy, or some institutes call it basic level, whatever that level is, level 1. Level 1 out of 3. If there are totally 3 levels, I'm talking about the first level problems to be completed. Some institutes give out of 5 levels, then the first and second level problems you should have completed. Okay. Then number of mocks. This is the important part. Start writing mocks. Please don't keep mocks till the end of the day, that is till October or September. By the end of July, you should have written at least 8 to 10 mocks. Now guys, please keep in mind, July end or August first week is when CAT notification comes out, where we will get to know some kind of an idea about the expected structure of the exam. Now last 2021 and 2022, the CAT exam changed, rather CAT 2020. I'm talking about the intake. So 2020 CAT and CAT 2021. The patterns were different for a reason. The reason was COVID. Because of the COVID, they did not want students to be exposed for longer durations. It was a 3-hour exam previously in 2019 CAT. They cut it down to a 2-hour exam so that the exposure is minimal. And both the years they had only a 2-hour exam. But this is not ideally the way in which CAT is. Now this year, as of today, I don't know whether there's a next wave coming or not, I can't predict that. But yes, as of today, in India at least, things seem to be fine. People are expecting that we are more or less out of COVID, at least that's how it looks like. I mean, the number of cases have come down drastically, and I hope it stays that way for the benefit of all of us. But if that is the case, then CAT might want to revert to the original way in which the CAT used to be conducted, which is a 3-hour exam. So whether it's a 2-hour or a 3-hour exam, we still don't know today. So we will be knowing that in the month of July end or August, when the notification usually comes out. The first 10 days of August, we'll get the notification. Okay. So by then you should have at least written 8 to 10 mocks. Doesn't matter what structure the institutes give you the exam. I'm sure any good institute will give you few exams in the 2-hour pattern, few exams in the 3-hour pattern. That's what we are planning in BYJU'S anyway, because we don't know what's going to happen. But either way, get into the habit of writing mocks. Around 8 to 10 mocks is what I expect, which means 1 to 2 mocks per month for that 5 months. Some month in the month of March you could write about 3 mocks, and then previous months you can write 2, probably March only 1 mock, something like that. Plan it out, but 8 to 10 mocks is what I'm looking at. Okay, you should know how a mock is done, especially what are you supposed to do when something goes bad in the mock. Okay, you should be getting into that mental state of becoming stronger and coming out of the section, letting it go and not affect for the remaining part of the exam. That is what you need to focus on in these mocks. Don't worry too much about the mocks, or rather the marks. It's not about the marks that matters. It's about your status, your mind in that particular 2 hours or 3 hours exam that you're looking at. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do. So this is the plan for the people who are in that late starters category. Okay, right. So let's talk about the next category, the people who are the hard luck guys. Well, for you, it's not about knowing the topics or subtopics or not. So you already know your strengths and weaknesses. You have done this analysis. If you didn't, then fine, go ahead and do that analysis once again, because if you didn't do it last time, if you felt that you missed it. But first, identify what went wrong in the actual CAT exam. If the reason is very obvious, then that's fine. Otherwise, take some time to understand what went wrong. That's a small part. It's not going to take you 5 months. It's not that I'm asking you to write a book on it. Yes, but take 2-3 days, think about it, what went wrong. You would have done that analysis already by now. That's fine. Okay. Now, for you people, you have to start with your weak areas, because you already marked something as weak, you mark something as okay, and as your strong. You're writing, you prepared 100%, at least according to you, the last time. There is no reason why you should be left with weak areas anymore this year. That should be your focus on, because you are preparing, putting in your effort the second time. Why do you again want to go to the exam with some weak area? So the idea, the point which I'm trying to make is, the next 5 months, push these weak areas into okay or the strong areas. Usually weak cannot become your strong. That's only good on to read in a paper or in an interview, when people, you know, tips for interview, students come with hilarious ideas. Tell me about your weaknesses. They say, I'll pass on my strength as a weakness. Usually it cannot be done at all. So I don't think weakness can be passed on as, or you can convert it into strength that easily, but yes, at least this is more doable. So how do you do this? Practice a lot more questions, understand the topic from the core, forget what all you learned, relearn everything, start from the basic. That's what you need to do. Spend in a lot of effort on these areas. Make sure that there is barely any weak area by the end of the 5 months. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Bring everything at least into the okay area. Yes, I've seen very few students converting their weak areas into this into a strength area. Very rarely it happens, but that's fine. If it happens, it happens. Okay. So that's what I meant. So no more weaknesses for you. You cannot afford to be having weak areas anymore, because you have given your best shot. Now you're giving the second time, and don't waste your time waiting for the exam or waiting for it to happen. Make sure that you go there this time better prepared than last year. Okay. Now, how do you split your time? Split your time in the 2:1 ratio, as I said. Now, when I said 5 months, prepare on your weak areas, I'm not saying leave out your strengths. What I mean is split it in the ratio of 2:1. So if you're preparing for, let's say, 120 minutes, probably 80 minutes on your weak areas and 40 minutes on your strengths. So strengths have to continue, but you don't have to put in that much effort. Rather, I put it this way: whatever effort you're putting on your strengths, double the effort on your weaknesses. Convert your weaknesses into your at least acceptable or okay areas. Okay. Now, this is more important. Plan your week correctly, because usually people who are writing it for the second time or third time, people who have given a serious shot last year. I don't know how many of you have resigned from the job or taken a sabbatical, could have various issues from your end, and definitely for sure you are not looking at being fresh out of college. So the whole idea is you are working somewhere, or you would have joined the company just now, because I don't know what kind of a status you are in. The point is, you will have work related issues for sure. So plan your week correctly, guys. Your 2 hours or 2.5 hours of preparation that you have to do per day, this should be a part of your timetable or a daily thing. See, you know, when you get up in the first 5 minutes, you brush, you finish your daily things that you have to do, take bath and all. Nobody has to tell that to you. It's a part of your daily things if you have to go to the office. Similarly, somewhere, nobody has to tell you that you have to eat your breakfast or your lunch or your dinner. I know many of you skip those things, but still, this at least is something which cannot be skipped. It should be a part of your timetable. It should happen every day. Do not go into the idea of saying that, okay, today I missed, tomorrow I'll double it. It will not happen. The point is, it should be every day. Just about 1.5, 2 hours is also fine for you. You don't even have to put in 2.5 hours. You already prepared once. About 1 to 1.5 hours is good enough for you guys. The point being, this cannot be accumulated. Please don't say that, okay, I missed 3 days, I enjoyed for 3 days, now I'll cover it up in the next 3 days. Usually, in my experience, 90% of the people will not be able to do that. Well, if you think you're among the other 10%, well, I can't say anything, but in my experience, normally students don't cover up what they missed. So it's better that you do little every day than saying that I'll sit on one day and read for 8 hours. Doesn't work. Okay. And you will not focus on the easy questions anymore. That's already done and dusted for you. You will start focusing on the moderate and hard questions in these 5 months. Topic tests or questions for practice, whatever you talk about, you will move away from basics. Don't waste your time on your basics unless you're very weak in something or you didn't prepare it last time. Then that's fine, but any topic which you're revisiting, start from the moderate and hard questions. Unless you strongly feel that you didn't get the grasp of the topic, so you need to go from the basic, that's fine. But otherwise, wasting time on basics is not going to help you. Okay, and this is most important. Do not relax on your weekends. Use your weekends to at least write 1 mock. I'm not saying you should study all the 48 hours on Saturday, Sunday. The point which I'm trying to make is, yes, relax, but at least finish your quota of work. It should be like, if I do this, then I'll earn my right to go to a movie. Link it that way. Self-discipline. If I write a mock today for 2 hours, I will earn to go and have a party with my friends in the night. Or if I study for 1.5 hours today, I will earn the right to go and watch a movie today. That's fine. I am only asking 1.5 hours per day, or in the weekends probably 2 hours per day. That's not more. That's very reasonable in terms of my asking of you, right? That's what we have. Now, section-wise plan. Let's take a look at what you're supposed to do according to in each section. Let's start with verbal. Okay. So if you're talking about verbal, I need daily 1 hour of reading. Now, this is for both category of students I'm talking about, whether you are a hard luck category of student or you are a student who was a late starter, doesn't matter. I need 1 hour of reading because reading is a habit. It should not stop. Okay, I've got a question coming. How do I improve speed? Dhirendra, speed of what? You're talking about speed of English or maths or logic? Please be more specific, Dhirendra, so that I can help you. Once again, guys, a reminder, if you like my sessions, please click on the like button for this video. Be part of a channel by subscribing to it, and make sure that you hit on the notification button so that you get to know what sessions are lined up for you. Okay, so 1 hour of reading every day. Now, reading what? If you did not have the habit of reading before, start with any books that you like. If you already have, especially the hard luck people, the people who prepared really well, you should, you can read your books, but I will not call it as my time of reading for this 1 hour. Here for you, for those people who prepared really well, your reading material will be ideally something like Economic Times or the Hindu or some kind of a magazine. Not Stardust kind of magazines, I'm talking about news related magazines, right? So, or you talk about books. If you want to read books, get into the non-fiction books, not the fictional part. You want to read fictional, please don't count it in this 1 hour. That's for your own hobby, that's fine. But this 1 hour of reading for you guys, especially the category 3 students, this is what I'm looking at, non-fiction books. Whereas fictional books, things that are interesting could be for category 2 students who didn't practice enough of reading last time when they wrote, especially the people who started late. Well, start with, or rather continue with the books that you've been reading, whatever interests you, but slowly start introducing at least 15-20 minutes of newspaper every day. I'm not asking you to read for 1 hour newspaper, at least 20 minutes, and the remaining 40 minutes you can read with read your books. But 15 to 20 minutes of paper is a must. Okay. Yes, this is more important. Do 2 RC passages a day, which ideally means you're looking at 8 questions. Now you might wonder, what will these 8 questions do? Please remember, friends, if you're looking at RC passages, that's about 8 questions. You are not talking about just solving or rather reading and leaving. That will take you 20 minutes. But no, what I'm saying is, when you're looking at these 8 questions, after solving, you have to analyze why you got something wrong, why you got something right. Both are important. You got something right for a wrong reason, correct the reason, right? You got something wrong, understand the reason, correct yourself. Whatever it is, 8 questions around 2 passages, RC passages every day is a must. Okay, don't start para-jumbles, para-completion, or para-summary also is one thing which I missed out. Para-jumbles, para-completion or para-jumbles or para-summary, don't start them for the first 3 months. Last 2 months, that is in the month of June and July, you can start these. But for the first 3 months, stick to only RCs. Okay. The reading should ideally be varied. Don't read only political news every day, or don't read only non-fictional books every day. Read, it should be mixed. Look at articles which are related to sports, business, various types of articles. Make sure that you get a flavor of everything. Okay. Now, sectional test, I'm not talking about topic test. If you notice, it's a sectional test. So when I talk about a section, you're talking about a full 40-minute or a 1 hour, depending upon what kind of a sectional test you're looking at. So one sectional test a week is what you are supposed to write here. Okay. So this is what you need to do. Topic tests at regular intervals. Yes, when I went by regular interval for RC, you can't say RC is completed. So RC is an ongoing thing forever. So keep writing topic tests. As and when you have an RC class, you learn something new, you take a topic test and see if you can apply that into your topic test. See, in a quant kind of a topic, you finish percentages, I will say go and write percentages. But in RC, you don't finish RC ever. I mean, there is nothing called as finishing RC completely, because RC is just practice on and on and on. So ideally, if you want to have a thumb rule, I would probably say write around 3 to 4 topic tests in a week, or at least 2 to 3, at least 2 topic tests, two topic tests per week. It's not much. Topic tests ideally will not be more than 15 minutes. So take 15 minutes, write it. In fact, you can, instead of doing 2 RCs on one day, you can take a topic test. That's fine. I'm okay with it. But the point is, this has to happen every day. Okay. Next is LRDI. If you're talking about LRDI, what you need to do? Well, in these 5 months, that is March to July, you are supposed to look at all standard DI, graphs and tables. They have to be completed from your end, which means you should have gone through the questions of all of these topics. When I say what are these standard table based questions, standard graphs are your bar graph, your histograms or bar graphs are the same, line graph, could be your pie chart, you don't go for combination as of now at least, but yeah, individually, do you understand every type of graph? Probably a spider graph, scatter plot, any of these. I mean, line is already done. So they are basically a set of these graphs which are very well known. So did you go through all of them? Do you understand each one of these graphs? That's what you're supposed to do. Again, all standard LR topics. When I say standard LR topics, the reason why I use the word standard is because CAT has started becoming kind of non-standard in terms of LR over the last few years. So the standard topics are like your arrangements, linear and circular. Then you have topics like your tournaments, games and tournaments, and so on and so forth. All these topics, at least the basic topics which any institute teaches you, you should have completed these topics, at least gone through few questions of these topics. Now the preparation for LRDI is quite simple. I don't want you to prepare this every day. I would say every alternate day, 1.5 hours. I'll explain why it is when I go on to the next slide. Here, take 2 sectional tests a week, one for your LR sectional test, one for your DI sectional test. Okay, one here and one there, that's what I want. And topic test offer every completion of topic. So if you finished bar charts today, go take up topic test based on bar charts. If you finish table based, go take up topic test based on your table. So it's not about how many per week, it's about when you finish a topic, you need to sit and take the topic test, right? Finally, coming to the quant, a must for you are arithmetic and algebra. You should have completed arithmetic and algebra, finish the topics by the end of these 5 months. And if you have time, I would say numbers and geometry are the next. So these at least 1, 2, and in my opinion, geometry. Numbers, you can leave it to a later part. In fact, now if you see historically what has been happening to CAT, I would probably say modern math, basically, which includes set theory, it includes P and C. These become a bit more important than numbers in my opinion. So you can, depends, numbers or this, whichever you like. They are more or less having equal weightage is what I have noticed. But yeah, arithmetic and algebra goes without saying. Geometry, no arguments. These are the top 3. Fourth topic, what you want could be modern math or number system, number theory, depending upon your likeness towards the topic. Again, here, I don't want you to do it every day. Every alternate days is what I want. If you notice, only English is where I'm saying you have to prepare every day. Whereas LRDI and quant, keep it alternate days. And I'll explain how this alternate days go about in the next slide. Again, 1 sectional test per week. And as soon as the topic is completed, just like what I explained here in LRDI, you will do the same thing over here. After every topic is completed, you will take up the topic test. Okay. Now, the preparation plan should look something like this. Every day there is an English, if you notice. I've just given you 6 days of example. One day you take LR, don't mix LR and DI, separate them out. Then you do quant. Then you get back to your DI again. Then you go to LR again. So this is a cycle. LR, quant, DI. Then the next 3 days is another cycle. Then the next 3 days, another cycle. So every cycle of 3 days, you will do once quant, LR once, DI once. But English will continue every day. English will continue every day. Okay, you're talking about 1.5 hours every day of your quant or DI or LR and about 1 hour of your English. This is the plan, broadly speaking. So plan your week. So at the beginning of the week, let's say your week starts from a Sunday or a Monday, doesn't matter, whatever week you start, it's a cycle. But at the beginning of the week, make a list of what topics you're going to finish, because you're going to get every subject twice and English 7 times, including a Saturday, Sunday. Please don't take any days off. You're just looking at 1.5 hours, 2 hours of preparation every day. So please don't skip that. So in my week, usually you'll be getting LR. So I would ideally say start it with quant, so that quant comes 3 times in a week. LR and DI comes twice a week. So 2 plus 2. So 3 plus 2 plus 2, that's your 7 days. Okay, so start with a quant and end one day with a quant. Again next week, start with quant. So you're talking about 3 days of quant and LRDI each 2 days. So that's your 7 days. Okay, this is how I want you to prepare. Make sure that your English is done every day. Okay, so this is the basic plan. Let's look at the next category, or rather the next phase, which is the mid-game, August, September. So 2 months, could be first week of October also. But what do you do here? The second category of students, the late starters, you will now start with moderate questions on your favorite and okay topics. Don't worry too much about your weak topics. Okay? Write about 4 to 5 marks per month, which means in these 2 months you're looking at about 8 to 10 marks again. So by the end of this period, you should have written a total of 16 to 20 marks. Okay, minimum. This is what I'm expecting. Focus on your strategy for each. So this is where your strategy should come into. Focus on your strategy for each section, which means if you talk about English, first by now you should have understood, are you good at RC? Are you good at verbal logic? Verbal logic includes your 4 sections, para jumbles, odd para jumbles, para summary, para completion. Which of these are you good at? And should you start with them? Usually people start with their strengths, but some people, keep the good ones to the last, depending upon how do you want to handle the section. Again, there is no single rule which fits everyone. So you need to explore. Once start with what you like, once start with what you hate, finish it off. In fact, I'm giving you an example of my son. If I give him 2 things or 3 things to eat, he has a habit of leaving the good things to the last, saying that I want to savor the taste, but that's about eating. But this is about solving. You want to start with what you like, you want to start with what you hate, up to you. I don't know what kind of a student you are, but figure it out. You need to figure it out for yourself. That's where these marks are going to help you, this 8 to 10 marks. Experiment what is working. If you start with something that you like, your mood is good, you might go to, let's say you're good in verbal logic, you are okay in RC. So if you started with this, it went well for you, you are in a good mood, probably your RC might become better. But same student, if you start with RC, didn't go well, that sour mood will continue to your verbal logic. It might really mess up your verbal logic also. I don't know how it affects you. Figure it out. Okay. So experiment and see what's working, what's not working. This is the time for you to experiment in the month of August and September. But the experimentation, the output is, it should lead to a final strategy. Okay. By the end of September, last 9th or 10th test in this, you should know what is working, what is not working, and close it, right? Ensure, so there are certain topics called as must learn areas. So I've discussed what are the must learn areas in various other videos of mine, sessions of mine, especially if you ask me in quant. In English, it goes without saying RC, you cannot neglect RC. Similarly, if you're looking at quant, you're talking about arithmetic, for sure cannot be your hated area. I don't care whether you hate it, you have to at least bring it to your okay level. Similarly, algebra, you hate it, you might hate it, that's okay. In algebra, there are at least 3 or 4 topics which I say are a must. So I did a detailed video on what are these which are a must learn. You cannot keep must learn topics as hate, okay, or as poor. you should at least have this must learn as either okay or good. So that is what you need to do in these 2 months. Spend extra time to bring those into this category of okay or good. Okay, so these are mandatory topics in my opinion. You can't let go of them. So that's what you need to do. They cannot be in your weak topic areas. This is your focus for these 2 months. Probably August, September, could be October 1 month or so. October half month also can be spent on this. Again, when I say August and September, I'm not saying it is hard and fast. You can play around with 15 days here, 15 days there. That's fine, right? And for the people who are, the third category of people, focus on mocks, my friends, because you focus on the weak areas, your strengths are already there, you made sure that your weaknesses are converted into, if not strengths, at least your average areas. You already have been focusing on your strengths, so your focus should be on mocks. If you did not experiment last time, yes, you can experiment and see what works. If you already experimented last time, you know what works, please feel free to continue with that or tinker around a little bit more. Again, you have a lot of time, that's the advantage. Make sure that you are comfortable completely with the strategy that you pick. Okay, not much of variation, not much of things to do over here. Keep writing your mocks, keep focusing on your weak areas, converting them into at least average or strength areas. But this is a must, don't lose up on your mocks. Your target should be to write at least 10 mocks in these 2 months, not even 8, I would say 10. Okay, because this is what will keep you guys motivated, getting mocks. And usually people who prepare for the second time seriously, first time you already prepared seriously, preparing for the second time seriously, what motivates you guys is getting that 95 to 100 percentile in your mocks. This is what keeps you guys going. Sometimes you get a 97, you push forward, you'll get a 99, it falls beyond 98. So you'll be hovering around that, you'll be having friends you would have made, trying to compete with each other. You are not in the phase of climbing the ladder anymore. You guys mostly, if you've prepared really hard last time, you are now talking about, okay, how will I get into that top 100 ranks? How will I get into the top 200 ranks? Or how will I get into that 99.5 plus percentile? That is what you're going to think about. So to keep yourself motivated, keep writing your mocks. And I'm sure it's not going to be a problem for your mocks, because last year, that is what I meant. Hard luck guys are the guys who already got this good scores last year. So mocks are not a problem for you. These mocks are to be written so that you are keeping yourself fit. Physically fit, you jog or you do something every day. Here, mentally fit, you keep writing your mocks along with your light preparation every day. Okay. And the last thing about this section or this part of the plan is verbal. Again, this will continue. The 2 reading of passages will also continue. Now, go to start your verbal reasoning. 10 questions per day. If you remember, I told you not to start verbal reasoning, that is para-jumbles, odd para-jumbles, your para summary and para completion for the first 3 months, that is March, April, May. But June, July, you will start solving and get into the mode of writing at least 10 to 12 questions every day without fail. Okay. Ensure that reading is varied. That is something which you're going to continue. 1 sectional test a week. Topic tests are regular intervals, but this time topic tests, please include your VR. Verbal reasoning topic test, because there's a good chunk of questions that come from the verbal logic or verbal reasoning area of CAT. When it comes to LRDI, now start with your combo graphs. So you're talking about bar chart question mixed with a pie chart, or a scatter plot mixed with a spider graph. There are various types of questions that come with combos. So it's not just one graph anymore. You're going to talk about 2 or 3 graphs at least mixed so that you get the combo idea. Look at questions which are based on DI and LR combo together. So it's not purely logic based questions anymore. It is basically logical reasoning with numbers. So there are questions which talk about some people getting some ticket numbers, and the logic is based on divisibility rules, but you have to apply logic also. So it is basically a logic with reasoning of numbers involved in it. Okay, some of them could be, so the logic could be based on prime numbers and so on and so forth. I'm just giving you one example. So it's not purely an arrangement kind of set which is 100% logic. Here it is logic combined with some part of math. Okay. And most importantly, focus on the last 5 to 6 years CAT papers without fail. The best source of these type of questions I'm talking about, either a combo graph, different type of graph, or especially these kind of questions, which are DI plus LR both combined. The best source is your last 5 to 6 years of actual CAT papers. These are available. CAT releases, at least thankfully they release these papers. And if you look at, if you're thinking there are only 5 or 6 papers, actually not. If you notice, every year there are 2 to 3 slots, which means you're going to look at an average of 10 to 12 papers over the last 5 to 6 years. So from 2016 onwards, if you take, if I did my math correctly, you'll be getting around 12 papers. Not a small thing, 12 papers, and on an average, you're looking at around 30 questions, because initially there were 32 questions in LRDI. Now there were only 20 questions in LRDI in the last 2 years, 24 questions. So on an average, you take 30 questions per day, per paper, per slot. So you're talking about 360 question sets. That's a lot. That's not a small number. Okay, so you will have enough of these to do for the entire 1 or 2 months. Continue with your 2 sectional tests and topic tests 3 a week. Okay, find time to take. Again, topic tests will not take you more than 15 minutes. So ideally topic tests are small, 15 to 20 minutes, so you can finish them off. But sectional tests are the full length sectional tests. So take that depending upon your time availability, at least 1 or 2 per week, because this is the last phase or second phase of preparation. You have to put in a bit more time. Quant, finish modern math in the first month if you haven't done so yet before that. As I said, whether it's weak or strong, at least have a go at it. Okay, modern math will include your set theory, which is basically your Venn diagrams based questions. It will have questions on your PNC and probability. So you need to prepare these 3 areas because they're quite important. Now, I'm not saying you have to become perfect at it, but at least ensure that the basic level questions you're able to solve. Okay, 2 sectional tests a week. And of course, topic test every alternate day whenever you finish a topic. If not alternate day, at least when you finish a particular topic, please continue with the test. Now, the last part of the preparation plan is your end game, which is your October to November. November, you'll not have the entire month. You barely have 2-3 weeks, because last Sunday of every November will be the CAT exam. So you'll have about 3 weeks. And in terms of mocks, we recommend not to write any mock in the last 5 days. 4 to 5 days before your actual CAT, right? At least last 3 to 4 days, don't write any mock at all. So last 3-4 days, so your 8 days is where, so November, so let's say November 20th to 22nd. This will be the last mock that you write. After this, we recommend not to write, because depending upon when the Sunday is, this is the time frame where you're looking at 3-4 days before your actual CAT exam. Okay, so last 8 days, if you subtract from your month of November, whatever is left, that is the time you're looking at. So what is happening in this time? No more, this for everyone. If you notice, I'm not categorizing this as second category or third category students. This is for everyone. There is no more experiment, no more strategy change. Whatever you finalized is that. You're going to continue the same strategy again and again and again. Figure out what are the mistakes you're doing in application of the strategy, but continue with that. Don't tinker with it at this moment. Okay. So you have to repeat it, perfect it. Okay. Focus only on the strengths and okay areas. Do not touch your weak areas now. October and November, last 1.5 months, don't bother about weak areas except for in quant, as I mentioned, that one topic, if you haven't done that by then. But otherwise, do not go for any other weak areas. That's okay if you left them as weak, that's fine. You left it. Even if it is, so let's say that geometry, I ideally would never want you to have it in your weak area, but fine, for whatever reason you said that geometry is in your weak area. Fine, leave it at that. Weak area means at least basic questions you solve, so that an easy question comes. So geometry, we expect 3 to 4 questions. If one easy comes, do it and get out. That's not ideally what I want for you, but for some reason in which your preparation has become like that, that's okay. Do not spend time on geometry at that point. Okay, leave your weak areas out at that point. So make sure that your strengths are perfected. Ideally, if you follow the plan, your geometry will never come here, right? But by chance if it happens, that's okay. Make sure that you solve the basic level questions, continue with your strengths, continue with your mocks. 5 to 6 mocks in the month of October. The count is less because you have October 1 month and probably only the first 3 weeks of November. So you're looking at, on an average, 5 to 6 mocks, probably 7 mocks if you have a lot more time. That's what you're looking at. So October 5 to 6 and probably 3 to 4 in November. So you're looking at a total of 8 mocks to 10 mocks in the last 1.5 months. Okay, and no mocks in the last 3 to 4 days of CAT. This is a rule, as I keep saying to the students. Please make sure that there is no mock you write 3 to 4 days before your CAT exam. You can write sectional tests, topic tests That's fine, but not a full length mock. Okay. Section wise, what are you supposed to do? 30-minute reading per day. Now, decrease your reading in this month and spend more time on tests. RC. Do proper RCs now. Right? So, from 2 RCs per day, take it to 3 RCs per day. Increase the number of questions. Probably I mentioned 10 over here. You can probably increase it to 15 or even 20 because you're reducing the time over here. In fact, if you don't mind, if you don't want to read at all, I would say fine, cut this out, do these 2 more. So you're now getting into the phase where it's more about question answer, not general reading. Okay, but if you like reading, that's okay. That's not a part of my discussion over here. You continue your reading if you like on your own time. But I'm talking about the time you're devoting for your CAT. And of course, one sectional test a week. And I will not stress too much on English because you're doing it every day. So that way it's going to be fine. Okay. LRDI, if you're talking about LRDI, you're talking about every mock set must be solved including previous mocks. So now if you notice, by this month, that is your October, November, you would have given around 16 to 20 mocks. That is in the month of, from the month of March to August, or rather March to September, you would have given these many mocks. So you're talking about, let's say 20 into on an average around 20 questions or 25 questions. So you're talking about 400 questions. Please make sure that you solve each and every question once again in the mocks. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you already got it right in the exam, do it once again. It's a very good exercise. Okay, and many of you will not be getting all the sets anyway in your mock. So please spend time here. If your CAT papers are not yet done, continue with them. And if your mocks are there and you haven't completed your mocks in terms of analyzing or solving the sets, spend time here. Okay, I will not ask you to start a new set of material, buy a new book. I don't want you to do all that in this last 1.5 months. Okay, do with what you have enough material in front of you. Okay, and you're looking at 3 to 4 sectional tests a week, 2 of your LR, 2 of your DI, could be a combined sectional test of LR, DI, whatever is available to you. Okay, okay, I have a question coming from Anish. What do you want me to suggest, Anish? See, this is what I'm suggesting for people who have prepared once. If you're writing it for the first time, I have conducted a separate session for first time takers. You know, people who are writing CAT for the first time, a complete 8 months preparation strategy. Please refer to that. It's available on YouTube. Anyway, continuing in quant, make sure that your arithmetic, algebra and geometry are highly focused. Okay. Make sure that these 3 topics are not left out. Even if one of these topics happens to be a weak area, these are special topics. You should not leave them. Even if they're weak, please focus on this. Okay. 2 sectional tests a week and daily topic tests. Keep writing your topic test on a daily basis here. Again, you're only talking about 15 minutes a day on a topic test. That's fine. So if you notice, this entire section, this 1.5 months is all about writing more and more tests, keeping yourself under the time pressure, getting used to the pressure of time. Okay. Anish, I think I have replied, my friend. Can I suggest something? I mean, you're asking me an open-ended question. Can I suggest something? What can I suggest you? About what? You have to ask me suggestion about what? I mean, I can ask you to sleep early and get up early, but will that help you as a suggestion? So when you ask me a question, please be more precise, friends. Okay. So guys, that's what I had in store for you. So once again, before you close out on the session, please click on the like button, follow us on the channels on various social media platforms, especially in YouTube, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification button if you want to keep getting notifications about more of such sessions in the evenings. Okay. Thank you, friends. See you in the next one.